Hi everyone, I'm Shannon and welcome to today's video. So today we are back with another best and worst staterooms on Royal Caribbean, and today we are covering the Adventure of the Seas. Adventure of the Seas was the third ship in the Voyager class. She was built in 2001, so she's 20 years old. There are 1,691 staterooms and there are 15 decks with 9 of them having staterooms. So if you haven't seen any of these videos before, basically what I do is I go to the website cruisestateroom.com. I take a look at the deck plan and I go through each category, making my recommendations on best and worst staterooms in that category. I don't spend too much time on the suites. There's not many to choose from, and usually people that are probably in suites aren't probably watching these videos, but I will go over every single stateroom in every single category. And then what I really like to focus on are those unique staterooms, those staterooms that are, have a little extra space or have an extra large balcony, and then maybe some things to avoid. So some that know that they have a lot of, lot of noise coming from it. So any research that I can find on certain staterooms, whether it be the best or the worst, I try to focus on the best, I will tell you that. And that's what I'm going to be going over today. The website cruisestateroom.com is free. You do need to become a member to access the pictures on the website, but the membership is free. You just need to give them their information. I've been using the site for 10 years. I highly recommend it. And they also gave me permission to use it for these videos as well. So, definitely recommend their site. Not sponsored, I just utilize their site all the time. So definitely check out cruisestateroom.com. Now there's tons of videos on YouTube for where's the best, things to avoid on a cruise ship, where you want to stay on a cruise ship. So I'm not going to go into too much detail as far as some of the basics, but some of the basics are, a lot of people will say the deck below the pool deck is one to avoid because it can get very loud. Personally, I've never had that experience, but also the deck below the pool deck is also mostly suites. So if you're going to book a suite, you're probably going to end up right below the pool deck. So keep that in mind. But if you are concerned about noise and maybe you're booking a junior suite, then maybe go to a different deck if you have an option. Another thing with the Promenade interior view staterooms, there is a lot of reports that the lower level, those are on 6, 7, and 8. The lower level tends to be very loud, especially if they have a late night party or a parade. So keep that in mind as well, especially if you have little ones or you're a light sleeper. If you do want one of those Promenade interior views, maybe you want to book on, deck 7 or 8 to hopefully have a little bit less noise. And then some of the basics that I like to do is I try to look on where on the ship I'm going to spend the most time. Where I know I'm going to spend a lot of time is Adventure Ocean. I'm going to be going to and from Adventure Ocean to be dropping my son and picking him up at the kids club. So I try to be in the same vicinity or at least on the same side. So, if it's on the back of the ship, I'll try to be towards the back of the ship. Food's on the back of the ship, always want to be near the food. So that's another thing as well. And then also the kids area on the ship. If there's a kids play area, usually that tends to be on the back as well. So, those are types of things, some basics to kind of realize where you want to be. If you are going to spend a lot of time in the spa and the solarium, that tends to be in the front of the ship. So maybe that's where you want to be. So it just really depends on where you're going to be spending a lot of time and try and, be on that kind of side of the ship. It's going to save you a lot of walking when you're on the ship. Another thing to consider is if you, are prone to seasickness, obviously you want to be more midship, and then lower decks will help you, there'll be less movement in that part of the ship. Can't mention Royal Caribbean without mentioning Royal Caribbean blog. They have a blog, so a website, RoyalCaribbeanblog.com. They have a YouTube channel and a podcast, so lots of information. Matt is very, very knowledgeable of all things Royal Caribbean. He even has a weekly Q&A every Monday night at 7:30 on YouTube, so definitely check that out. He will answer your questions and he's very, very knowledgeable. Also, book through a travel agent. Can't recommend it enough. I am not a travel agent. I'm not trying to promote anybody's business, but I will say you want to book through a travel agent. They just are knowledgeable. They'll be able to answer your questions, and they also monitor rates. So my travel agent recently saved me $50. I wasn't even monitoring the rate, and she said, hey, I just, by the way, got an email saying I saved you $50 because your rate went down, and that was it. And I didn't do anything. So that was great. I got the same rate through her as if I would have booked through Royal Caribbean. Plus she's giving me an onboard credit. And then she saved me $50 by monitoring the cruise rate, which was fantastic. So really great. The travel agency I use is Touring Plans travel agency. So touringplans.com. Their link is below. Royal Caribbean blog recommends MEI Travel. They're fantastic as well. There's also a great moms group on Facebook. I think it's Royal Caribbean's Moms at Sea. That's run by a travel agent, Jamie. I'll post her link below. Very, very knowledgeable. It's a great group as well. Because they, you know, it's especially if you're a mom or you're traveling with families, there's a lot of, the group asks a lot of questions like about your kids. How's the kids club? Is the kids club good for 4-year-olds? What happens if my kids need to be split up into different age groups? All that, you know, the other members are going to answer it, as well as Jamie. She's very knowledgeable as well. Post her link is below as well. And then there's 2 agencies that have YouTube channels. La Lido Loca is great, and Don's Family's Vacations, fantastic as well. So highly recommend. I will post their channels and their links below as well. So with that, let's go ahead and look at cruisestateroom.com and look at the Adventure of the Seas. Actually, before we head to cruisestateroom.com, let's go ahead and look at all the categories on the Adventure of the Seas. So there is one Royal Suite. This cabin is 1,087 square feet, which is with a 217 square foot balcony. It is on deck 10. Then there are 10 owner suites. These cabins are on average 559 square feet with a 90-foot balcony, category OS, and they are also on deck 10. Then there are the Grand Suite 2 bedrooms. There are 4 of them. They are all on the aft and on deck 8 and 9. They are 561 square feet with a balcony of 246 square feet. Then there are 23 Grand Suite 1 bedrooms, category GS. These staterooms are on average 349 square feet with a balcony of 100 square feet, all on deck 10. Then there are the junior suites. There's 85 of them, categories J3 and J4. Cabins are on average 264 square feet with a balcony of 75 square feet. The decks are 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. And then finally in the suite category, there is the Panoramic Suite. This is category VP. There's only 2 of them. And these are the only suites that do not have balconies. They're panoramic, so they have floor to ceiling windows, but no balcony. And these staterooms are 406 square feet and they are on deck 12. Moving on to the balcony category, there is the Spacious Balcony category. There are 370 cabins in this category, CB, 1B, 2B, 3B, and 4B. They are 179 square feet with a balcony of 52 square feet, and these are on decks 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then there's the balcony category. There's 280 of them, categories 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, and 5D. They are 164 square feet with a balcony of 51 square feet, decks 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're moving on to the Ocean View. There is the Ultra Spacious Ocean View. These used to be the Family Ocean View stateroom. They sleep up to 6. There's 8 of them. This is category 1K. And these staterooms are on average 265 square feet, and they are on decks 6, 7, 8, and 9. These staterooms, like I said, are family staterooms, so they sleep up to 6. So they have the regular bed, the pull-out sofa, and then they have 2 bunk beds. So that all of these staterooms have that. They sleep up to 6. So really, if there's only 8 of them, but if you have a larger family, this is something you definitely want to take a look at. Then there is the Panoramic Oceanview stateroom. There are 36 of them. This is category 1L, and these staterooms are on average 191 square feet. They are all on deck 12. Spacious Oceanview, there's 16 of them, 3M or 4M. These staterooms are on average 178 square feet on decks 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then there is the Ocean View, 182 of them, 1N, 2N, 3N, and 4N. These staterooms are on average 160 square feet and they are on decks 2, 3, 6, 7, and 9. And finally, moving on to the interior staterooms, we have the Promenade View interior. There's 138 of them, categories 2T or CP. And these staterooms are on average 160 square feet, and they are on decks 6, 7, and 8. And then finally, the largest category is the interior category. There's 536 of them, categories 2W, 1V, 2V, 3V, 4V, and CI. These interior staterooms run on average 150 square feet, and they are on decks 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So now let's head over to cruisestateroom.com and let me give you my best and worst recommendations. Okay, so now we're on the website cruisestateroom.com, and as you can see, Adventure of the Seas is the first cruise ship available. And this site, as I mentioned, has pretty much every single cruise ship imaginable and their deck plans, and then people submit pictures to help with choosing your stateroom. So we're going to start with the Royal Suite. There is only one of them. It is category RS. It sleeps up to 4, 1,087 square feet with a balcony of 217 square feet. And it is on deck 10. And deck 10 is where most of the suites are located. It's right here, 1620, great location, right on the hump. Obviously, it's going to be probably the best location on the ship. Next, we have the Owner's Suite. This is category OS. There are 10 of them. They sleep up to 4, 559 square feet, 90 square feet, and they are also on deck 10, and they are these olive green colors. There is 4 on the left-hand side, and then you have 6 on the right-hand side, and you'll have, I think the best ones here are going to be 1314, 1320 right on the hump. Again, not going to spend too much time. I think any of these are going to be great, but obviously these right on the hump are going to be the best in this category. Moving on, we're going to go down to the Grand Suite 2-bedroom. This used to be known as the Royal Family Suite. These sleep up to 8, and there are 4 of these staterooms. They are 561 square feet, and they have a balcony of 246 square feet, and there's only 4 of them, and they are on decks 8 and 9, and they're all the way on the aft. So if you don't like an aft stateroom, then you would not like these this category, because that's pretty much what you get. And these staterooms are pretty much they're all going to be very comparable. You're not going to get too much of a difference between the 4 staterooms. They're all pretty much located the same. I would say the only difference might be is that deck 8, you may get a little bit less of an obstruction view with the balcony. But here are some pictures of the balcony, and let's see. Here, there's some more pictures of the stateroom. And the balcony is a decent size. It's a 217 square feet. But there you go. So that is on deck 8, and that specifically is 8694. Let's go up to deck 9, and let's see if we can see some pictures of the balcony on deck 9. And here you can see there is the stateroom. This picture is from 2017, so it's fairly new. Let's see if we can go down here. Some of these, this is 2021, so obviously this room has been updated. So very, very recent picture. Really, really nice. And there we'll have some pictures of the balcony. So I don't think you're going to get too much of a difference between these 4 staterooms. I think maybe the balcony on deck 8 might be a little bit bigger, and then the balcony, but on deck 9, you're going to have less of an obstructive view. So again, of the 4, I think, pick which one you want, which is more important to you, but I think all are going to be very comparable, and you're going to be happy in a Grand Suite 2-bedroom. Next up is going to be the Grand Suite 1-bedroom, is category GS. It sleeps up to 4. There's 23 of them. They're 349 square feet with a balcony on average of 100 square feet. And it is this hot pink stateroom. So the best one in this category, in my opinion, is going to be 1324. It's going to be the only one that's centrally located right on the hump. And then the rest are more forward.
So again, nothing is going to be wrong with these. I think they're great. But, I personally prefer to be more center midship or on the aft. So again, my preference would be 1324. But then moving on, I think I would try to get 1588 or just closer to the midship. But even if I ended up in 1548 and 1248, I'd still be in a grand suite, so I'd be happy. Next up is the junior suite category. These sleep up to 4. There's 85 of these staterooms, 264 square feet with a balcony on average of 75 square feet. These are on deck 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. So I'm going to go through, there's pros and cons of each. Decks 6 and 7, there are 4 on each and they're all on the aft. So there's no pictures here. These rooms are going to have the extended balconies. Keep in mind that the level here, this portion right here, let's see if we can get a picture. All the aft balconies do have obstruction, but then the balcony, there's nothing, the level is on the same. So, if you have small kids, that might make you feel safer, but just keep that in mind. I think these are great staterooms. The balcony is going to be a little bit extended, but these would not be my first choice, especially if you want to be on the aft. Moving up to deck 7, the same thing. There's 4 here. So let's see if we can take a picture here. This looks just like to be pictures of the actual stateroom. So let's see if there's better pictures for 7694. So here's a picture of the balcony. You can see the obstruction there. But as you can see here, it's a good sized balcony. It's a little bit longer. You've got loungers, so you are going to get extra space. I personally love aft balconies. However, if you do want a junior suite aft balcony, I suggest going up to deck 10 and you have 1694 and 1394. I was in a similar stateroom on the Freedom, which is very comparable, of 1706. And the balcony was fantastic. It was very spacious. The room was great too. The room did feel a little bit larger than a regular junior suite, but the higher up, you feel less of the obstruction. And again, it was a really fantastic stateroom. So if you are in a junior suite and you like the aft, I would recommend trying to get 1694 or 1394 first. And then if not, then go to 7 or 6. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I just think being on deck 10 is going to be the better one. Now let's go down. Let's say you don't want to be on the aft. Let's look at the other staterooms. Deck 9 is where you're going to have the most centrally located because the suites are all on deck 10. There are some junior suites on deck 10 as well, but if you want to be more midship, and you want to be on the hump, then you're going to want to be on deck 9. So here, 9618, 9318 are going to be those staterooms that are right on the hump. And here you have the balcony. So your balcony is a little over, enclosed, but it's still very nice. And you'll be very, very centrally located on the hump and very centrally located within the ship. So deck 9 is, I think, where if you want to be midship, there are some more forward. These, I think, are great if you want to spend a lot of time in the solarium or the spa, but my preference would be more on the hump. Now moving up to deck 10. Keep in mind with deck 10, you could have problems with noise with the pool deck. That's sometimes an issue. Here, we already talked about the ones on the aft. There are 2 handicapped accessible here, the more towards the forward of the ship. And then I think the best in this category on deck 10 is going to be 1612, 1312, or 1624. Those are the ones that are on the hump, a little bit off to the side, but they are still on the hump. So you're going to get that extra space and you're going to be very centrally located. So they're going to be great. No pictures of, let's see if we have a picture of the balcony here. So there's a picture of the balcony. So it's a little enclosed. I personally don't mind that. You might, if that's something you don't like, definitely join this website to take a look at the pictures. And again, I think any of these are going to be great. Personally, I would probably, if I was booking a junior suite, I'd want to be on the aft or the hump. That would be my choice. But then they added these on deck 11. And these are ones that I think these are special for certain people. I would probably want to try and get one of these. There's 4 here. They're fairly new. There's 1100, 1102, 1104, and 1106. I think my best one would be 1106. That would probably be my first preference. But there's no pictures. It just looks to be a little bit bigger, but there's no way to tell for sure. But it looks from the layout that it would be just a tad bit bigger. There is a video here and it's pretty recent. And whoops, it is pretty recent. So it's a really nice stateroom. They had an issue because they were assigned this cabin and they needed an accessible cabin, but it's a really great video and it seems to be fairly recent, and the balcony looks great. The room looks fantastic. Because it's a newer stateroom, the amenities are newer. So, and I think this being on the same deck as the pool deck is fantastic, especially if you're one that wants to spend a lot of time in the solarium or even maybe the fitness spa. I think this is great. You're the same deck as the pool deck. You're the same deck as the windjammer. It's a really great location. Even though I prefer to be on the aft, I still think it's great to be on the same deck. So these, I think, are hidden gems. And I'm surprised that there's not more videos, because I think a lot of people, I think these are, probably really great junior suites. Okay, last in the suite category is the Panoramic Suite category. It sleeps up to 4. There's 2 of them, and they are all on deck. Well, there's only 2. They are on deck 12, and they are all the way forward, and it's 1854 and 1804. So these staterooms, for your knowledge, is that one, obviously they do not have a balcony. They are Panoramic Oceanview suites. And they also do not have a bathtub. So the stateroom bathrooms are more like the regular stateroom bathrooms. So keep that in mind. Some people, that might not be an issue. If you have little ones that need to take a bath, that might be an issue. But these rooms are beautiful. You're going to have floor to ceiling windows. Obviously a lot of extra space. Keep in mind, for the panoramic rooms, you do need to keep these blinds closed after sunset. So I don't think that would be an issue. I never really open my blinds past sunset if I'm not in a balcony. So, and honestly, I personally don't use that, but these blinds do need to remain closed after sunset, and that would go for all of the Panoramic Oceanview staterooms. So there's only 2 of them. I think either one is going to be great. It's pretty much going to give you a similar view, but they're great. And that is the VP category, Panoramic Suite. Okay, next we're going to go over the Spacious Balcony category, categories CB, 1B, 2B, 3B, and 4B. These sleep up to 4. There's 370 staterooms. They are 179 square feet with a balcony of 52 square feet. They're on decks 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The CB category are the ones that are connecting. That doesn't mean that other staterooms aren't connecting. It's just that these are categorized as connecting balcony staterooms. So we're going to start on deck 6, and there's really not many standouts in this category, but I'm just going to walk through each and every one. You'll see here, I think it's just a matter of which deck you want to be on. So you'll see here, CB is this, mustard colored. And then the 3B, 4B is this light blue stateroom. They are on deck 6, 7, 8, and then there's no connecting on deck 9, and they are on 10. So you'll see here, I think it's just a matter of location. Again, if you have kids, I personally always prefer to be towards the back, either mid portion or back half of the ship, because everything that I'm going to access, the sports club, the kids club, windjammer, that's all going to be on the back portion of the ship. So most of the things I'm going to access are going to be on the back portion of the ship. So I think any of these are going to be good. Obviously you have some handicapped accessible in this category right here, very midship. And then you have some more forward. These are obviously the 1B, 2B are a little bit better location, so that's why they're kind of ranked just a little bit higher as far as category. So I think, again, there's nothing special. It's just more about location. Moving on to deck 7, they're going to be very similar. You have the blue. So as you can see, there's some blue here that are connecting, but then these are the connecting category. So, I don't know why they have it like that, but they do. Obviously here, some 1B, 2B, very central location. Personally, I would prefer to be more towards the back. So if I were going to be here, I would want to be maybe 76-34 or 73-34. Or if you needed connecting, you have some central locations there. Moving up to deck 8. Here we go. Again, very similar, kind of the same thing. And we'll move up to the same. Again, here's some prime north towards the front. And now we'll move up to deck 9. And here we go. We have the blue ones right here towards the front. That would not be my choice again. But you have now the 1B, 2B, most of them are on deck 9, and that's the central location. So the best ones in this category are going to be midship. So I would say 96-20, 96-22, and 93-20, 93-22. These are going to, no picture of the balcony on that side. Let's see if we have any on this side. No pictures of the actual balcony, but it's going to be on the hump. So very centrally located. If you wanted to probably save some money and go down to the 3B, 4B category, you could go down to here. Again, there's no standout staterooms in this category. Now, here are where the standouts. So let's see here. There's some in the forward, 3B, 4B, right here. And let's move down. Now, here are the special staterooms in this category. You have the 3B, 4B. Nothing special about these here. The best staterooms in this categories are going to be on deck 10, and it's all of the ones on the aft. Now, these are going to be great. They are going to have kind of an extended balcony. You can kind of see it here. Let's look at the balcony on deck 10. I love aft. I mentioned it before. And they are going to give you a really large balcony. But the best staterooms in this category are the ones on the corners, 1688 and 1388. Not only are they going to give you a very large balcony, but they're also going to give you a larger room as well. The room is pretty much the size of a junior suite. You're not going to have the bathroom of a junior suite, but you're going to have the size of the junior suite. And then now look at this balcony. It's a corner balcony. It's absolutely stunning. And then it is also known as the stripper pole room. So there is a good picture. And I had a similar stateroom like this on the Liberty. We loved it. The space was amazing. And we got used to the pole. The pole did not bother us. But you do have a lot of extra space. And then the balcony is really, really nice size. So really great stateroom. Highly recommend it. As you can see, it's been updated with some newer amenities, really nice. So the best staterooms in the spacious balcony categories are by far the ones on the aft on deck 10. So now we're moving on to the balcony category, and this one I am going to break up. So these staterooms they sleep up to 4. There's 280 of these, and the cabins are 164 square feet with a balcony of 51 square feet. I'm going to start with 5D. So we're going to break this up. 5D they're on decks 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to start on deck 6, and they're all on the aft. So it's these 4 staterooms on the aft. These are great staterooms. The room itself is going to be the same size. However, it is going to have an extended balcony. So as I mentioned earlier, it's the same level as, whatever was there. I don't know what the term is, but you're not going to have like extra space on the outside of the balcony. So not much pictures there. But it is an extended balcony. There's not much pictures here. The best ones I would say on this is going to be 6688 and 6388. They're the corner ones. These two would also be great. They will be a little bit extended and longer, but they won't be as far as extra room on the sides. I'm going to go up to deck 8, and we'll see 8690 and 8390 are going to be the best on deck 8. So if you wanted to be a little higher, there's a picture of the bathroom. And here is a picture of the side of the room. I believe it is this one right here. So this is the picture of the balcony you can see here. And you'll have, obviously you don't have a sliding glass door, you have a regular door. But here is some pictures of the balcony. So these balconies, again, it's on a corner. While you'll have the obstruction from the directly on the aft, you won't have it on the side, which is really nice. And you're just going to have a lot of extra room, while the room itself will be the same size. So that is deck 8. These two will also be great. Again, the balconies will be a little bit longer, but not really wider. But the best rooms in this category are on deck 7, and it's 7688 and 7388. And these staterooms are amazing. We stayed in one of these on the Freedom, a similar stateroom, and look at the size of that balcony. The balcony is like the size of your stateroom. It's enormous. So it's fantastic. It was just so relaxing. It was so nice to be out there. My husband and I went on that back in 2008, I believe, on the Freedom. And it was an amazing room. So stateroom, as you can see, is the standard size, but that balcony is amazing. These two as well, I think, are great. They're going to give you extra space, but extra lengthwise. But the best in the 5D balcony category are 7688 and 7388. And then if those two aren't available, I would go for decks 8 or 6 on the corner as well. Next up is the 3D and 4D category. These are on deck 7, 9, and 10. We're going to start on deck 10. There's not many of them. They are at the front, and it's these two staterooms right here. Not my choice. They're very close to the stairwell. Obviously, they'll be very close to the solarium and the fitness and spa, but I personally, again, do not like to be towards the front. Move down to deck 7. And again, same thing. There's just only one stateroom, little bit more midship, but again, not ideal. Now we're going to move to deck 9. And now you'll see a couple here. There are right here, same location. So these are a little bit better. I think these are really great locations. We'll move down. And the best staterooms in the 3D, 4D category are going to be 9690 and 9390. Again, these corner aft balconies. There's a video here. Here's some pictures of the inside. Obviously, you'll have a porthole as well as a glass door leading out to your balcony. And your balcony will be not as big as the one on 7, but it is a nice size balcony, a nice corner balcony. And just really, again, it's a really nice extra space, enough to have loungers. This is from 2017. So I think this is a really great location as well. So my favorite in this category of 3D, 4D are going to be 9690 and 9390. And again, these two right here will have balconies that are a little bit longer, extended. Now, if you don't like being on the aft and you want a balcony stateroom, then you're probably going to want to book category 1D or 2D. And these are on decks 6, 7, and 8. We're going to start on deck 6. And these have the prime location. These are all located on the hump and then the forward portion of the ship. There's no special cabins in this stateroom category, but they're all on the hump. So we've talked about that before, that it's a very central location. And it's pretty much the same on all 3 decks. So it's just a matter of which one you want to be on. Do you want to be a little bit higher? Personally, I would probably try to get on deck 8. So let's look at deck 8. And again, it's these turquoise ones here. So my prime stateroom would be 8618 or 8318, moving on down the hump, just being very, very centrally located. And then if those weren't available, just kind of moving down. I think I would personally choose to try and be on the hump either on 8, 7, or then 6 before moving forward. But that's just me. It really just depends on the individual person. But that's it. There's nothing really special about these staterooms. It's just a matter of location. Now we're moving on to the Oceanview staterooms, and so no more balconies. The first category will be the Ultra Spacious Oceanview, category 1K. This used to be known as the Family Oceanview. These sleep up to 6. There's 8 of these staterooms. They are on deck 6, 7, 8, and 9, and these are all the way forward. So if you don't like being on the forward part of the ship, or you're maybe prone to seasickness, this may not be the category for you. But this is the family ocean view stateroom if you have a larger family and you want to sleep up to 6 without booking the royal suite. We'll start on deck 6 and we'll just take a look. There, like I said, they're all the way forward, 6,500, 6,200. Personally, in this, I would probably try and be a little bit higher. That's just me. You'll see each room has these 2 bunk beds, so they actually have real beds. Very convenient if you have, kids and you have, especially teenagers that need a bed, an actual bed. Here is the room. So it's a nice size room. 6 is going to be tight, but it's still going to be better and cheaper than booking 2 different staterooms. Moving on to deck 7. We have 7,200 and 7,500. Here's a picture of the view. You'll see the room pretty much the same as the one on deck 6. There is the bunk beds and there's the bathroom. Now we're going to skip deck 8 and go up to deck 9. There you'll see 9,200, 9,500. Again, they're going to be very similar. Spacing looks to be about the same. You have the bunk beds. So it's pretty much the same size. Now, the best rooms in this category are by far deck 8, with 8,200 being the best one, followed by 8,500. And you'll see why is because they are situated lengthwise, and which is going to give you more space, at least appears to be. And you'll see here, this picture is from 2017. And you'll see there is the master bedroom on this side here. And then if I go back to the initial picture, the master bedroom was on this side and the 2 bunk beds were over here. So very convenient. It's nice to have that kind of split floor plan. So you have, kind of some privacy. And, if you're a parent, you can probably appreciate that. So that is 8,200. And let's take a look at 8,500 as well. It's going to be not as big, but it's going to be a little bit, probably a little bit smaller, but not, still bigger. And I think better than the other 6 staterooms. So here's some pictures. As you can see, the amenities, it looks to have been updated. This is from 2020. So here is the bunk beds, and then on the other side of the room is the, master bedroom. So here's an older picture. As you can see, very convenient, really nice. So my favorites in the 1K category are going to be on deck 8, 8,200, followed by 8,500. And then the other 6, I think it's just a matter of what's available and which deck you want to be on. Moving on, we have the Panoramic Oceanview staterooms. This is 1L. There's 36 of them, and they are on average 191 square feet. And these are all on deck 12 all the way forward. We talked about the Panoramic Suite a little while ago. And for the most part, they're all pretty much the same. They're all pretty much the same size. However, the best one in this category is by far going to be 1864. 1864 is probably a little smaller than the Panoramic Suite, but it is still a corner. So as you can see, it's pretty much the size of a junior suite. So obviously the bathroom is a regular stateroom bathroom, but the size is that of a junior suite. Really, really nice. Obviously it's a newer stateroom, so the amenities are newer. 1814 on the other side is a handicapped accessible stateroom. So, but the best one in this category of regular stateroom is going to be 1864. If that one is not available, then the next best I would say is 1852 and 1802. You're going to be pretty much directly in the front of the ship. And I think as a kid, that'd be fun. You can pretty much I always enjoyed being on the aft, but I could see my son really enjoying seeing where we're going and pretty much feeling like he's driving the ship. So I think that's a great stateroom too. I would personally try to be more towards the front of the ship than back here. But I think any of these staterooms, I haven't seen people complain about being in a Panoramic Oceanview stateroom. I think they're fantastic. Just keep in mind that after sunset, you have to keep your blinds closed. I don't think that's an issue, but that's something to consider. So that is the Panoramic Oceanview stateroom. Next up is the Spacious Oceanview, categories 3M, 4M. There's only 16 of them, and they are 178 square feet. They're on deck 6, 7, 8, and 9. The best ones to me are going to be on deck 9. So we'll start with deck 6. Here's some back here. I don't think there's anything to write home about. They're going to be a little bit larger than the ones, the regular ocean view, about 15 square feet, which when you're talking that small of a room, that's going to make a difference. There's some all the way towards the aft, and then you have some all the way forward of the ship. No pictures here, but you're not going to have much of a difference. Same thing on deck 7. There's just going to be some towards the aft, again, right here. Moving on to deck 8, we have none on the aft, and we'll move forward, and there's just 2 here on the forward portion. Nothing to write home about. And then you have deck 9. The best ones are in this category. My preference would be to be 9502 or 9202. Let's take a look at 9502. We have, let's see, here's a picture. So this is a recent video. We can tell because the crew member is wearing a mask. And as you can see, there's a lot of extra space on this side of the ship. So, or on that side of the room. So that's going to give you a lot of extra space. Let's look at the corner one over here. Again, the same thing. So it's going to give you a lot of extra space. So that is going to give you some extra room. And then you have 9218, I think, as well. Some pictures. Let's see if we can take a look at some pictures here. Again, so I think my preference in this category, I think the best ones are going to be 9502 and 9202, followed by 9504 and 9204, and then moving on to these on the side. So I think if I were to book this category, I would book it if I could get any one of these staterooms on deck 9. Moving on to the regular ocean view staterooms, 1N, 2N, 3N, and 4N. As you can see, they are on decks 2, 3, 6, 7, and 9. And 1N and 2N are only on decks 2 and 3. And that's because those are going to be the ones that are midship. So if you have a fear of, or you get seasick, then I would say maybe book 1N or 2N and end up midship on a lower deck. Otherwise, it really just depends on, what you're looking for. But let's start with deck 2 and we'll look here. So as you can see, this is 3N, 4N are going to be on the aft and forward. And then you have midship is going to be 1N, 2N. So I think the only thing about booking on decks 2 and 3 to keep in mind is that you can't walk through. So as you can see, this is blocked off. So if you are in cabin 2278 and you need to go to the solarium, you can't walk to this elevator. You have to walk all the way this way, get to the elevator, and then go up and then walk back. So in booking these staterooms, and the same thing would go for this side, if you wanted to go to the windjammer, you couldn't just walk across. You would have to walk up here to walk back. So you're going to be doing a lot of backtracking. Same thing goes for deck 3. So I would just say when you're booking on decks 2 and 3 to make sure you are near, I think any of these are going to be fine because you're not going to be backtracking. You'd be walking to this elevator or staircase anyway. But booking in the midship, that's going to be an issue. So I would just keep in mind booking, try to book a room near the elevator where you're not going to be having to backtrack. Looking back at deck 3, here you have it as well. So these rooms right here would be ideal. These rooms right here would be ideal. That's toward the aft. And then here, again, you just want to be probably any of these would probably be better than going over here. Now, moving up to deck 6, we'll see now this is just going to be the yellows. You'll see here. Now, these staterooms are really great. Actually, let's go up to deck 9. So deck 9, I'm just going to touch on this. There's 2 staterooms here. I think they're okay. Nothing to write home about. They're going to give you some nice, little extra room here, but nothing, those aren't necessarily my pick. Going back to deck 6, you'll see here, the best staterooms in this category, again, are going to be on the corners, 6508, 6208. There's some pictures for this stateroom. As you can see, it's a little bit of extra room because it is on a corner. And, you know, when you're dealing with a room that's like 159 square feet, this is probably a little bit more and is going to be very nice. Now, it is all the way forward, so that could be an issue for some. But I think these two staterooms are definitely ideal in this category. But the best one in this category is going to be on deck 7. And again, this corner's 7506, 7206. These are going to be the best. It's going to give you that corner, and you'll see here a lot of extra room. So in the Ocean View regular stateroom category, my best bet and best staterooms in this category are on deck 7, 7506, and 7206. Now we're moving on to the interior staterooms, and we have the Promenade View interior. We have categories 2T, CP. CP are the ones that are connecting. And these are pretty much just Promenade View. So they're all going to be midship, and it's just a matter of location. I personally, touched on this early in the recording that for Promenade, you want to probably get on deck 8. Deck 6 does have sometimes a reporting of loud noise, especially if there's a party or a parade or something going on. You're going to hear it more on deck 6 than you're going to hear it on deck 8. But I think personally, I would try to be towards this side. So the 6611, 6311 going up to deck 7. This, again, the 11 or 9 staterooms, those I think are going to be the most ideal. And then moving up to deck 8. So these are just a matter of location. There's nothing special. So my preference, if I were to book this stateroom, I would try to get 8611, 8609 before any other stateroom. And I would try to get on deck 8 if I could. And now we're going to wrap it up with the interior stateroom category. There's 536 of them. They're on average 150 square feet. Categories 1V, 2V, 3V, 4V, 2W, and CI. CI, again, is the ones that are guaranteed connecting. There may be others that are connecting, but those are the ones that are guaranteed. And then 2W are these studios. Those are made for studio, for solo travelers. So they're on decks 2, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I will tell you right now, I don't see any staterooms that appear to be larger or, odd shaped that might be a special, give you a little extra room or more bang for your buck. I don't see that. If you're booking an interior stateroom, you're probably not planning on spending a lot of time in your stateroom, and you just want to, maybe get a really prime location. So that's really what I would focus on for an interior stateroom. Taking a look at the forward, all these studio staterooms, there's only 4 of them. They're all the way in the forward part of the ship, and then you have one interior stateroom right next to it. And those two could be connecting. So that would maybe be good if you had maybe you're a family of 5. You could book these 2 staterooms if they were available. Moving down, you'll see some interior here in the middle and then some here. So I think these are fine. I think on deck 2, these would probably be the most ideal because they're the closest to the stairwell and elevator. Moving up to deck 6, these are all going to be just about location. So you have some here. Again, I'd always try to be towards the midship. So 6435 would be prime. And then you have some here. Again, I would personally try to be toward the aft. But if you want to be toward forward, then I would try to get as close to the stairwell as possible. Again, deck 7, same thing. Pretty much the same type of staterooms. Deck 8, very similar. Again, this is probably you want to be as midship as possible. You have some here on the aft, but I wouldn't want to be on the sides of the ship if I could help it with no window. I think you'd want to be as midship as possible. There you have some here. Moving up to deck 9. So again, some a little bit more forward. Then you have some really midship. This is past the promenade. So I think these are really ideal. These are the 1V, 2V category. So these may be a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it to get higher. Now, one of this notes here, you'll see it says that cabin 9593 is near maintenance area for pool and may hear noise during the night when crew is working on pool maintenance. So I would maybe avoid these staterooms around here. but maybe go over here. And then you also have these staterooms, I think, right here. These are going to be great locations as well, right next to the elevator and stairwell. So very, very nice. Moving up to deck 10. Deck 10 is just, again, there's none center, so they're going to be a little bit more on the sides. Then you have the 1V, 2V category here in the middle, and then you have some in the forward. Now, there are some special ones on deck 11, and this would be really about location. If you want to be near the solarium, I mean, if you really are going to spend a lot of time in the solarium and you're going to book an inside cabin, try and get one of these two. Because, I mean, you're right there. You can just leave the solarium, walk back to your room. Very, very convenient. So now if you aren't, you're going to spend a lot of time in the pool, the main pool, it's still on the same deck. So very, very convenient. So I think those are really kind of really great staterooms depending on what you're going to be doing. But if you're going to be spending a lot of time in the solarium, then these would be fantastic interior staterooms.
And there you have it. Those are my recommendations on best and worst staterooms on the Adventure of the Seas. So if you have any comments or questions below, put them in the comment section below. I will try to answer as much as I can. And then if you have any insight, have you been on the Adventure of the Seas? Where was your stateroom? Did you like it? Did you not? Post comments, help others in the comment section below. And with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.